Hello, and welcome back to season 4 of Visiting Dugout. I am Crystal O'Keefe, and today I have a new but very special guest on. This is April Glick Pulito. She is a big Mets girly. I love it because I'm also a Mets girly. Hi, welcome. Do you mind just kind of introducing who you are?
Yeah, hi, Crystal. Thank you so much for having me. I am indeed a big Mets girly. You have maybe seen me talking on Mets Sky. Big early adopter and proponent of the Mets community on Blue Sky. Created a starter pack very early in the days, getting people over from the other site, where there was a robust community, but it has a different flavor.
Mhm.
And it's very fun, and I'm a big talker. I spent most of last season aggressively posting the lineups on Blue Sky to make the admin come over. And I have a joke in the comments section. People know that I constantly, lovingly bully the Mets admin into posting things on Blue Sky. I've also been making Mets content on TikTok for a little over a year and change now. But yeah, you can mostly find me on all different social media platforms, being myself, exploring as Crystal and I were talking about the multitudes of being a woman who loves baseball and many other things, and constantly posting through being a Mets fan.
I like to think of myself as a pioneer for White Sox Blue Sky. Like I try not to look at White Sox Twitter. It's not the same. Like
It's
White Sox,
hard
it's
because,
so
the
nice on Blue
journalists
Sky.
don't move. There is that relationship that so many
Mhm.
journalists also have with like the betting pages, which I have very mixed feelings about, like the betting groups. And you can't listen to a baseball podcast because, and most baseball podcasts, you can't listen to a mainstream baseball podcast and not hear an ad for sports betting.
Mhm.
And I don't love that or the attitude and vibes that it has brought to a lot of sport. And I think that you can feel that way more on Twitter than you can on Blue Sky. I think Blue Sky is very much other people who, they call Blue Sky a bubble, but sometimes it's just nice to be like in a safe space. Like
Yeah.
maybe that makes me soft, but I like talking about the plays and not about like the immediate worst thing. And so, yeah, I think it's hard not to at least listen to Twitter when you are kind of a sicko about the sport as much as we are when you cover the sport. A
Hmm.
lot of like I've got passing alerts set. I've got, I all of us had Twitter alerts set during deadline. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to kind of disentangle yourself. But I feel that my community is much more. And yeah, I always know of you, Crystal, like the pioneers of baseball blue sky and sort of the people who immediately became, oh, I know that person. They're a fan of that team. And then you kind of have a catalog in your head of, okay, here are the people on Blue Sky who are not fans of my team. Oh, I know this person is a Dodgers fan. I know this person is a Mariners fan. I know this person, I know Crystal is a White Sox fan. But they'll talk to me about the Mets too.
I even created the Southside Sox account on Blue Sky. I was like, no, we're gonna come over here, and I kind of forgot about it because there was a stage where I just wasn't really posting on anything, and then I come back and there's like 1,000 followers on there, and I was like, oh hey, I did that. Here to my editor, like take the keys, I guess. Now this is what I built for you based on my influence, I guess. So
If you build it, they will
exactly.
come.
And not to quote just ridiculous baseball movies, but no, it's true. And now we have a lot of followers over there. I'm on a ton of starter packs. I found you, I think probably from like the Amazing Avenue ladies who are,
Love them.
you know,
Love them
incredible
from
that are,
Mets Twitter.
yes,
Again,
I've had a very
more robust, more
long-standing
fun.
love for them and all they do and the domestic violence awareness that they also raise. That was, I had
Dollars for
them,
dingers, baby. Dollars for
yeah,
dingers.
I had them on for like a special Visiting Dugout episode in October for Dollars for Dingers, where I was like, I do a bunch for domestic violence, you do a bunch for domestic violence. We're both big in our like respective baseball communities. Let's do this for real. Let's
Uh,
make a big deal about
we're
this.
both millennials, right? So it's with our powers combined,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Like twin powers activate. Let's do this. These are the two teams I love. So, yeah. So it's a big honor. to be those pioneers on
Yeah,
baseball blue sky for your teams. So, love it. Okay. So let's get into, I guess, the
let's
Mets.
talk baseball.
What's new with this team?
Oh, so much. A third of the roster is new at this point in time, if we're being honest. In fact, we sent one of our relievers your way at the trade deadline. You're welcome, and also sorry
I
based on his performance lately. Um, what's new is the post-deadline Mets, which might possibly be a good baseball team, or at least the bones of a good baseball team. We are 11 and a 4 over our last 15 games. We just took a series from the hottest team in baseball, the Padres, and the only thing that stopped us from taking game two is the freak of nature that is Fernando Tatis Jr. Before that, we swept the Nationals, which is not something that we did earlier in the season. In fact, we got our butts handed to us by the Nationals earlier in the season. Um, this, what they call in the booth, the new look bullpen of a lot of guys on their second, third, fourth tries after a couple cups of coffee over the years. Really making an impact. Guys coming back from injury, guys getting the call up, stories like Jeffrey Yan, um, Senga moving to the bullpen, which is something that I think a lot of people have been wondering when it was just going to happen.
Yeah.
And now that it's happened, it feels like we're seeing Kodai Senga smile for the first time in a season. um, the rookies are not new, but this is the first time that the White Sox are playing the Mets this year, right? The only time that the
Yeah,
White Sox and
first
the
in a
Mets are
long
meeting
time.
this year. So you guys get to see Carson Benj and AJ Ewing this series, which are just like what a breath of life on
I
a
am really
team.
excited because I'm going to Sunday's game and I'm covering Saturday's game. So like I'm excited to see Carson. Again, I hate to say this because like my team is like genuinely competing this year. Like they
Yeah,
have a postseason
they're
chance,
going to they're very likely going to the
but
postseason.
I'm just
Like,
like, oh man, I just hope both teams have like so much fun during the series. Like I'm struggling because I love both of these teams, where I'm just like, do I wear like my Mets Vans and like my Sox jersey? Like, what do I do? Do I bring my like Mrs. Met chain and like wear her over Murakami? Like, what do I do
she's
in
such a queen,
this instance?
mascot Hall of Fame.
Love of my life, Mrs. Met. But it's just like, don't do this to me. But also, like, I am exactly where I want to be.
It's also like I think it's a tough time of year for us to come to Chicago if you like the Mets,
Yeah.
because if we came earlier in the season and it was just part of the 12 game losing streak, then I think it'd be easier to be like, well, it was cool to see these parts of it, but like my team's doing well, the White Sox are doing well, like we can just happily rest on a win. But like the Mets have I think a big thing that's new about the post deadline Mets is that they're developing an identity.
Mhm.
And they have been talking about it in post game interviews. They've been talking about it in availabilities. Is like they're playing for each other, which was a really big argument against David Stearns that myself and a lot of other people were making earlier in the season. Is like, who are these guys? Because like we were like, okay, you've got a lot of good players, maybe some questionable players, but like who are these guys? And like the power of friendship really carried us through 2024, right? And we've been kind of chasing our way back to that most of 2025, certainly after the fall off of 2025, when like a year after Grimace, almost exactly, our luck just diametrically shifted. Um, I think they have found this identity where they don't have to worry about being shipped off anymore. The season's essentially over. The pressure's off. The ones who are still here, who have team control, know they're going to be here for a while. Um, I do think the sort of lingering specter of what baseball will happen next season might be contributing to the screw it, let's just play. I think Andy Green is huge. I think firing Mendoza and the vibes that Andy Green has brought into that clubhouse, leadership and development, I think are new to the 2026 New York Mets. the past, I don't know how many, I don't know, it's like one game 120 or something like that, 120 something. So we fired Mendoza around it was game 81, exactly. After the horrible game 81, where there were like six errors all on the infield. Everybody, you get an error, and you get an error, and you get an error, and the other team wins. That's what watching the Mets was like for a lot of the first half of this season. And some of that can be chalked up to Francisco Lindor having a slow start,
Yeah.
not having a spring training, not having. I was watching old videos from earlier in the season, which feels like a
Don't hurt
bajillion years
yourself like
ago.
that.
No, and it was like, because it's funny now because even though I really don't, it would take a miracle to get the Mets to the postseason. And I do not believe that miracle is coming. But I think it's possible we could finish the year at 500. I think it's possible that we could play spoiler in some places. Sorry if it's the White Sox. I don't think it will be all three nights. Um, but I think we could catch some fire. We could catch some vibe and continue like Andy Green at the helm means that we're developing people. Means that there are some times where we leave a pitcher in and I'm like, please no, it's no, please no. And then he gets out of it. Or he doesn't. Maybe he gives up a run. Maybe we win the game, maybe we don't. But I think a lot of the weight of the beginning of the year has been lifted. And so these guys are just playing more free now.
This Mets team reminds me so much of the 2025 White Sox team because during that year, Pedro Grifol is thankfully fired. It was a very similar situation to Mendoza. Grifol's fired. Grady Sizemore comes in and kind of just coaches throughout the rest of the season. And they knew they weren't going anywhere. It was kind of a wash of a season. But once Pedro leaves and Grady comes in, it felt like a total vibe shift. It was just like, hey, we're going to just have fun. We're not going to take ourselves too seriously. We are going to get by on the power of friendship. And yeah, maybe we do get randomly really hot at the very end of this. Who knows what's going to happen? Um, but they're having fun, and that's kind of what mattered more than anything. And then obviously we see this total transformation of, Will Venable being hired. White Sox are really, really good out of nowhere. No one was expecting it. And like, you see pattern recognition and that's the pattern I'm seeing with like that specific White Sox team and this current Mets team. It's just vibes are great because they had to get rid of the dead weight and just accept that it wasn't going to be this year. But they're on the up and up. They've got rookies that are coming in that are, and after this trade deadline, they've got the rookies, they've got trade acquisitions, and it's kind of just these building blocks to what will eventually be something better. But you just have to get through the rough part of it
The
first.
transition years, the
Yeah.
endless transition. And, Lindor said recently in a market as big as New York, you don't have transition years.
No.
Maybe you have adjustments, but I mean, David Stearns gutted the team in the offseason. Like, you've got Bryce Harper and Mookie Betts out there talking about how the Mets aren't the same team since they let Pete walk, which we won't go into that because if you follow me on social media, you know how I was when Pete Alonso became an Oriole. I was not well.
I cried.
Again, there are videos on that. I legitimately sobbed, like
Yeah.
like it was very, very, very devastated. And I think that all of those and other players, like other people loved Nimmo. I don't know if there was anybody who like really wept for like losing Jeff McNeil, but I do think that like you can't deny that a lot of our understanding of who the Mets were over the past decade were these guys.
Hmm.
And so that question I was asking about who is this team? Who am I rooting for? Who is playing for each other? Um, you can't deny that they're different. And we've had to kind of, even Steve Cohen was like, maybe we took too many risks.
Maybe, but
Maybe. maybe. And I made a comment the other day is that looking at our minors right now, looking at the minor leagues for the Mets post deadline also is like our system dropped off because we graduated so many guys this past year. Nolan McLean and Carson Bench and AJ Ewing are all playing in the major leagues. They were all top 100 prospects last year, right? Like these are big name rookies that are going to have an impact for years to come. And that's seeing that happen. And then looking at the minors right now, looking at Mitch Voigt and Billy Amick and Emilian Petrie and these guys that came over at what was a painful deadline for some of us. There are a couple of losses. A couple of the people on the roster I knew were leaving. Fine, whatever. A couple of those losses, Clay Holmes, Tyrone Taylor, Luke Weaver, really hard. Tyrone Taylor, I feel like is easier because it's like a 2 month rental,
Hmm.
and Stearns has already brought him back. So like if there's a bench space for Tyrone, I feel like he might get a call if the Cubs don't want to keep him. Um, but watching those other pitchers go is hard. But I do like I look at our minors now and I'm like, 2 years from now, this team could be again, it could be totally different. It could be crazy young. It could be the Brewers, right?
Brewers, man. That's been a fun story to watch happen. So, and I know we just kind of talked about this, and this is a whole new team, and the trade deadline was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Are you feeling confident, maybe not for this season, but for the future of the Mets and what they might be able to do?
I think there's a big question mark because of the management situation.
Hmm.
I do. I think the talent that we have on this roster, I think some of the cohesiveness. I mean, this 11-4, 15 game stretch, Juan Soto has not been playing.
Yeah.
Like the Mets scored something like 50 runs the first week after the deadline. It was offensive explosion. No Juan Soto. Like again, where were you guys in April? Number one. Number two, oh, that'd be great. It'd be super if you guys could keep this up. Is that because the skipper right now is go out there, play, have fun? Is it because the season is over and they're playing free because there's no expectations on them? The Mets. The Mets are historically bad when there are expectations and do crazy, unbelievable things when everybody is just like, they suck. They're the suckiest team ever. That was 2024, right? From 0-5 to OMG. Like, that is the journey. And then 2025 was like, the best team in baseball, 20 games over 500, best team in baseball, number one. Like, so now that there's no expectations, now that everybody's haha, LOL Mets, now the Mets are doing insane things. Now they're doing good things. And so there's almost a part of me, the superstitious part of me of a baseball fan wants to say, like, no, 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 don't let them hear you. Don't let them hear
Exactly.
you believing in them.
Yeah, for a
Because
split second, I even
we
said, I was
lost the
like,
OMG game.
yeah.
Jose Iglesias threw out the first pitch because we are desperate to recapture that grimace magic.
Yeah.
And we lost the game because Fernando Tatis Jr. is a generational player who tweets for the first time in 3.5 years, "Are you not entertained?" After
Hmm.
he owns us like that. Like, it's it's so weird. I feel deeply superstitious being a Mets fan,
Well,
I think.
the White Sox lost the Popat game, and I get it. Like, and that's the thing. I'm sitting here at the beginning of the week, and I'm like, oh shit! Like the Mets are they're doing something right now. They could really knock us down a peg. And then I was like, oh, Crystal, let's reel that back in. Reel that back in. Also, as someone like I just finished, I don't know if you read it, I'm assuming you did, Addie's book, The Magical Game.
It just came off
Oh,
of hold of the library for me. So that is on my list.
it's
But it
delicious.
is, Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm
Sure.
sure that I will enjoy it. I've been waiting for it to come off and I'm very excited. And I'll
I
do like a little
pre-ordered that the
review on
second she
TikTok.
announced it because I knew it was in the works at least. I immediately pre-ordered it. But, coming off of also just reading that, I'm just like, no, it's always still gonna be LOL Mets, no matter what. Do not get ahead of yourself and think that this team is gonna come in and like knock you down a peg because once they get that in their head that they can, they fold. So
I
like,
think, I think it'll be 2-1, but I don't know who gets the two.
yeah.
I think that it's a
That's
3-game
valid.
series. I do not think it's going to be a sweep on either side. I think it's going to be a rubber game. I don't think it's going to be 2-1. I think it's going to be 1-1 rubber. Um, because like I've watched the White Sox a little bit this year. I remember I was saying to a White Sox poster on Blue Sky. I think his handle is at Chicago White Sox,
Oh, Bennett,
jokingly.
Bennett. Yep.
Bennett. And I remember saying in the offseason, I remember seeing moves from the White Sox and being like, I feel like they're going to be sneaky good next year. And he was like, no, they're not. It's like, in the same way that a superstitious fan who went through the worst season ever would be. As you ask me, do I believe in next year? No, maybe. Depends on who's managing, depends on what we do. But Bennett was like, no, they're not. They're not. And I was like, maybe as like an outside person, they're doing interesting enough things that maybe something could happen. And I kind of feel that way about the Mets right now, is
Mhm.
that it's like I have a deep affection for Jared Young, who's a wonderful first baseman. Um, but you can't deny the rookies. You can't deny the like pitching is better. It's weird, but it's better. Um, we definitely need a starter. I think Cohen is going to go out and throw money at Scooble. I don't know if he takes it. I think it depends on how he does with the Dodgers for the rest of the year. I also think apparently it depends on what's going on with Dodgers ownership because I don't think that they're going to throw $400 million, $500 million at another contract if they're going to have to sell the team because they're being indicted for fraud or like whatever it is. Like it's possible that Steve Cohen overrules David Stearns, does something crazy. That's possible. I would say maybe like a 25% chance. I don't, I don't know, but I know that they're going to try.
Mhm.
Um, we thought Freddie Peralta was going to be that. He was not. We thought Clay Holmes was going to be great. And then Spencer Jones broke his foot.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, well we're gonna take a quick break because we've already kind of dug into what this series might be. So let's take just a quick little break. We'll be right back to hash this one out. All right, welcome back. All right, so this series with the Mets. Let's first start off with what pitching will look like. So I've got the Sean game, Sean Burke, Sean Manaea.
Con
Game
game.
two, that's going to be a good game. Sean Burke has been
Is he
lights
lefty
out.
or righty? I don't
He's
know.
lefty.
He's a lefty.
It's
Oh,
going to be
lefty
lights
lefty
out.
game. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Um, then we've got game two, Luis Castillo and Kristen Scott, and game three, Eric Fetty, though that could be an opener. I don't know that he's starting versus Nolan McLean. So, Sean, Kristen, and Nolan, what can
Yeah.
you tell me about these three pitchers and what we can expect?
Sean is really finding his way back into form after a really tough 2025 and a really tough start to 2026. He started 2026 not in the rotation. He started in the bullpen. Because in 2025, when he came back from injury, he really struggled. Really struggled. He was given a pretty great, I think it's 375 contract after the 2024. So $25 million a year, Sean Manaea. And the last year and a half of that was not great. And then about halfway through, around the time that David Peterson was traded to the other team in Chicago, after we had to, had the same problems as we did last year with our pitching rotation, pulling up a lot of guys, slotting in a bunch of people, a lot of injuries. Um, Sean has really found his velo. He's really like got some confidence back on the mound, which is another thing I really love watching in baseball players is you can tell in the body language when they're feeling good and when they're not. And Sean is very expressive. And I think he's dotting lines. He's dotting lines. He's sitting like 93 these days, 93, 94. But he's feeling really confident. I think he just got a season high for any Mets pitcher, 11 strikeouts in one of his recent starts. And so, um, he sometimes he has some trouble with walks. Sometimes he has some trouble with contact. I think he gave up 2 homers in his last start. Um, yeah, a lefty-lefty matchup.
Sean
He
Burke is
does.
actually a righty. I don't know why I
Okay.
constantly forget that. For some reason in my head, Sean Burke is a lefty, but he's not. So it's actually not a lefty-lefty
I
matchup.
will say,
But
I don't know.
there's
I think
some
you guys have
things.
a lefty masher. I think most teams have lefty mashers these days.
Randall Grichuk.
Sean is kind of catnip for lefty mashers. Like if you have a designated lefty masher on your team, like I remember Eli White when he was on the Braves before he moved up to Boston. Eli White was the bane of our existence when Sean started against the Braves. So I will say watch out for that. Like he
Yeah.
does. If you're a lefty masher, you'll probably hit Sean.
Randall will be in the lineup for sure
Um
because Will is a big fan of
Matchup,
that lefty
like the
righty.
matchup
Yeah,
guy.
loves it.
And so we've got Christian Scott. Scott's coming back from injury. Been really good for us this year. Been really solid. Sometimes loses the zone a bit. Uh, Sometimes just gets a little all over the place, but has been pretty reliable. Like really feel like they're pushing him on pitch counts. They've been watching him and pulling him pretty early all year this year. Um, but he's been really solid. And Nolan's so gritty, Nolan McLean, because he can often start and not have his best stuff and still just like grit it. Like Nolan has the length that Christian Scott does not have. Nolan can and will stay in the game 7 innings if
Hmm.
he can, even if he gets hit around. Um, I love what Andy Green said recently. Nolan McLean, you follow the Mets, so I think you probably know this at least a little bit. But like Nolan McLean celebrated after like getting an out or getting out of an inning, and then the next inning he came back in, and like the energy just wasn't the same, and he got hit around the next inning. And Andy Green commented on that. And again, I think that's part of why the question about like what is the outlook for the Mets, you know, I think it's important. I think something to think about with both Nolan and Christian in their starts is that our current interim manager is a development guy. He's a development guy. And I see that in so many of the games that the Mets are playing lately as he's pushing these guys in very particular ways. And if you're covering them, if you're following them in a way that those of us who cover a team, whether recreationally or professionally, do, then you can kind of piece together the what do they say in the pregame? What does the game look like? What do they say in the postgame? What is the story of the development arc that they're trying to trace for these guys? And Andy Green has been very articulate and it's been very exciting and I think very revealing about the path forward for the Mets, the way that he has been talking about, Christian Scott knows that he can be that guy in the lineup. He's not there yet. And so it's just pushing him to be that guy, pushing him harder, pushing Nolan McLean to keep a lid on it until he gets through it, to keep that focus. And these young guys, especially these guys who are probably going to be in our rotation for years to come. Like Sean is on contract for next year. We've got team control of Nolan and Christian Scott. You guys are not seeing Robert Stock, but despite Robert Stock being 36 years old, we still have team control for a
Hmm.
couple of years. No options, but team control. And then who's our fifth right now? Zach Thornton, who is firecracker. So fun. But just having all of these pitchers in development, going through development, 4 big league games, 4 games that matter, especially for teams that we're starting against. All of these games matter in the AL playoff race.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say, they're young, they're still cooking. And I think those are really interesting things to watch, especially with Christian and Nolan. It's like adversity for them. This is Nolan's first full rookie season. Christian Scott was out for all of 2025, pitched a few times in 2024, but this is essentially like I don't think Christian Scott qualifies as a rookie anymore, but this is kind of Christian Scott's rookie season too. I view him as a rookie, even though he's not technically anymore. Um, So it should be fun. Good pitchers.
Yeah.
Good pitchers.
I also just want to bring
And
this up because I mentioned
yeah,
Eric Betty. He's potentially will have an opener. Betty was moved to the bullpen post deadline, but then Davis Martin went down with an injury. He should be back, not in this series, probably the next one, probably the Rangers series. But Fetty kind of got moved to the bullpen to come in more of as a bulk reliever. And at the top of this, we mentioned Senga has moved as well. Do you feel like that's been, and again, you mentioned like he actually seems happy, like he seems like he's thriving in this role. Do you think that that was a really good move. And these teams that are kind of moving these once starters into a bullpen role, do you feel like that was good for him?
I think it really is. I think these guys want to be starters, right? These guys
Yeah.
want to be starters. Number one, you make more money. Number two, it's, you want to be the guy. Like you to be an athlete, to be a professional baseball player. I was listening to the booth talk about Manny Machado last night. I was listening to Howie on the call talk about how horrible it would be to watch Manny Machado every day because you would be so annoyed by having a player on your team like doesn't play hard.
Yeah.
And I think these pitchers, especially the ones who are like starters who get moved, are like, I want to be that guy. Um, and like I think you were saying that Fetty didn't really, that was not a like it did not go well. I mean, you have Luis Castillo on your team because the Seattle Mariners had too much pitching,
Hmm.
and they were dealing with that piggyback situation, which put Luis Castillo in that horrible situation where it was like you can only like it doesn't matter if you're dealing, you have to come out after 4.5 or 5 because that's what we've decided because we're going to play this other guy. Um, all that said, for Senga, I think it is the best way we can utilize a contract that we kind of are stuck with and like have not been able to move.
Hmm.
Um, I think he's on contract for like the next 2 years. It's like 15 million a year, which if he's an elite reliever, again, none of this is my money. So when I talk about baseball money, it's all fake to me. It's all fake to me.
Monopoly money in
Billionaire,
our world.
casino man. You have a casino. You're building a casino. Like, I don't, this is all just baseball money to me. Um, labor always. So he's making 15 million a year. It's a contract we can't move off of. It's a roster spot we can't move off of. We need his permission to send him down, which we did last year. He was so bad that we did last year. And then this year, he's a very fragile pitcher. And so he would be great the first time through. You would see 1 or 2 innings from Kodai Senga. He'd start and he'd be like, yes. And then the third inning, he'd give up 8 runs. Like
Hmm.
it was a nightmare. And it's that kind of thing that makes watching baseball. I remember the guys on Mets Step said earlier in the year, like the Mets are playing so bad that they make people not like baseball anymore. And it's like, because you don't even want to watch the thing happen because it's going to happen bad to your team. So I think for Kodai Senga, I think being a bulk reliever is different than being a closer. Moving to the bullpen is different than being the guy at the end. And so Devin Williams' injury, like half of our roster that has been injured this year, um, Devin Williams' injury opened that door to kind of say, well, instead of just putting him in like bulk situations or an inning or two here, let's let him close. Let's let him go throw an inning of forkball, fastball, forkball slider. Like, just let him empty the tank
Hmm.
in 1 inning. Like, that's comes out to the Beat It song. Like, it just, there's
Do they
new
still
video.
do they still do the Sega thing when he strikes someone out?
The little video
Oh,
game thing. I
Sega,
don't
yeah.
know. I haven't seen it. I
Mm,
haven't been to the park since he started closing.
okay.
So I don't know. But I mean, again, I think for some ball players, especially if you're not moving into another kind of like prestigious position, because I think starter is more prestigious than
It is.
bullpen,
Yeah.
obviously. It pays more. You feel more value to the team. You probably feel more value in your self-performance. But like to be an elite closer is sort of the next rung down, right?
It is,
It's
yeah.
like you're not like it's like starter, closer, high leverage, bulk relief. And so I think him going from starter to like what we don't know what to do with you to You're closing games, man. You got to save. He's gotten 4 saves since the deadline, since Devin's injury.
Hmm.
Like that, the smile on his face. I appreciate Kodai's self-awareness too, because he said when they asked him, like, he was like, of course I'd rather be starting, but if the team came to me and showed me my stats, I wouldn't have anything to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thankful that the last time I saw him start, it was a good start for him. It was April of last year. The Mets did win that game.
April of
Uh,
last year.
yeah.
That says something about the
Yeah.
last time that he was really like reliable for a quality
Hmm.
start.
And that was my husband's first time at Citi Field. He's also a White Sox Mets person. It was his first time there. So he's like taking it all in. And I was like, oh my gosh, we've got Kodai. He's opening. This is gonna be incredible. Like he's the starter. He's so good. Like I remember him being so bummed that he didn't record the little video game thing. I was like, don't worry, I got it for you. Like, let me send this to you because I love it. I'm obsessed with it. And it was such a good game. And then,
Yeah.
like mid-season, I was like, hey, so maybe don't check in on the Mets.
Maybe just like
Because
find
he
another
was,
sport.
yeah, he was relatively checked out of baseball at the time because like
Yeah.
both teams were doing poorly.
Bad. Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, maybe don't check in on either of our teams right now, actually. Like, let me be the bearer of bad news to you. Like, he knew about baseball because of me. Like, all of his baseball news was just me saying, hey,
Hey.
I don't want to
My
tell
husband
you
does not
this
really
story.
follow baseball, but like he'll see me like on game night, like I'll be like watching the game in another room or something like that, and I'll just like he'll see that I'm in like not a great mood. We're losing 10-3. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
don't,
That was
sorry.
that was just such a like a beautiful trip because we were there for a concert actually. That was like our main reasoning, but I was like, but hey, the Mets are in town. You have not been to Citi Field. This is our opportunity to do like weirdo music, Mets baseball, and then me doing all of the like weird Taylor Swift and gluten-free stuff, all in this span of like 5 days. So it was a beautiful
A
trip.
super trip. A
It
super
was.
trip.
It was incredible. I'd do it again. I had him taking like a picture of me standing in front of the Cornelia Street apartment in my like Let's Go Mets sweatshirt, and he's like, I don't know what's happening here, but hey, you're
I'm just
happy.
happy you're happy, right?
So
Exactly.
yeah.
That's a good partner right there.
Or
That's how it
me
goes.
crying over like finally eating a soft pretzel for the first time in like 5 years.
Years.
I was like sobbing and I was like, this is the best pretzel I've ever had. And it was just on Cornelia Street. He's like, are you whatever, girl?
The multitudes, the layers, the layers.
Oh, yeah, he really just
Try to
slipped
stare,
up.
try to stereotype a female baseball fan. I dare you.
You can't
Try.
be, especially because people know me as like the spooky girl too. So then they're like, oh, wait, you also listen to Taylor Swift and you also write about baseball? Like, what? Where did your lines cross? I'm like, look, I don't know. I'm just here for a good time. Okay. Just here for a
Just
good time.
following what brings me joy. That's all.
Exactly. That's all you can do in this hellscape.
All you can do. That's all you can do. And I think that's the other reason. It's something that we've seen little burblings of since the post deadline is what if the Mets did do something absolutely insane? What if the Mets did do miracle, crazy nonsense? And I like, chasing joy is like, again, maybe I don't believe that something like that is happening. Maybe I don't believe that like we're really gonna go. I think we have to go like 30-6, 30-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
To even get to like I saw something that was like, oh, if the Mets go 30-6 over their last 36 games, they'll be 83-79, which was exactly our record last year,
I
which would
mean,
be the most Mets thing I think that we could do is to have the exact same record, also not make the playoffs,
no.
also not make the play. But we have lost so many tiebreakers with NL teams that even if we were starting to do well, even if those other teams would all have to just stop winning games. They would just all have to stop winning games.
The Braves
Again,
kind of are. The Braves have lost
possible.
the last 4 of 6.
The thing is, we're
Crazier
never
things
going
have
to catch them.
happened.
We're 17 games back from the Braves last
You
time I
are.
checked. I don't know if we still are, but we were like 2 days ago when I last checked the NL standings. We
Yeah.
are at least 14 games back. And I think we're like 10 or 11 back from even the Phillies. We're 10 back from a wild card as of, I think, last night.
Hmm.
But that's, other teams are going to win games, even if we win 5 out of every 6. It's just but it's more fun to believe. It's
Hmm.
more fun to feel that like good vibes. It's more fun to feel that possibility. So
I get it.
chasing that joy while I have it, because again, who knows how much baseball we're going to get from our major league teams next year.
Hmm.
Enjoy it while you have it.
Well, we'll try to beat the Braves for you today to complete that. We have a makeup game from June, so we'll try to beat them again. We'll sweep them,
Please,
ideally today.
please.
So back to the series. I always like to ask who the biggest threat on your team is going to be to this White Sox team. And this, I mean, this could be a pitcher. This could be just a very dangerous hitter. It could be whatever. But who is the biggest threat on the Mets right now to a team?
I really do think it's Carson Bench
Oh yeah.
because his outfield defense is just like his WAR. He's in top 10 WAR for left fielders, I'm pretty sure, out of all of baseball. He's in the rookie of the year conversation, even though it's JJ Weatherholt and Sal Stewart are just like,
Yeah.
um, but he's in he's in the top 4 of the conversation. Um, and he is really like he's swinging the bat well. I trust him and AJ both in RBI situations more than I trust guys who have been playing baseball for a decade. And I think that defense, that kind of grit and patience, I think that he's probably because he's hot right now.
Yeah.
Like last week, Carson Bench hit a bases loaded RBI on a check swing.
Yeah.
He was trying to get out of the way, was trying to hold the swing, and the bases were loaded, and everybody was safe. And he wasn't even trying to hit the ball. Like the way he flies through the outfield, how hard he runs, how hard he plays, the way that Andy Green talks about him, see ball, hit ball. I joked that Carson Bennett needed to go out there and do something. He goes out there, hits a home run, comes back, says, Coach, I did something. Like, who doesn't want an animal like that on their team? And again, I mentioned earlier, very, very attached to Pete Alonso.
Yes.
Carson Bench is not going anywhere for the entirety of his contract. Not sure if we extend him or not, but Carson Bench is going to be playing in the outfield for the Mets for the next 5 years,
Do you feel
at
like he is
least.
the peace offering for losing Pete? Because anytime I open Blue Sky, it's everyone just like all caps saying like Carson Benz, you're the
Peace
MVP of my heart.
offering. I don't think it was on purpose because I think there was a world where Carson Bench did not make the opening day roster.
Yeah.
In that world, Mike Talkman did not get hurt. In
Yep.
that world, Luis Robert didn't get hurt. Like AJ Ewing was not supposed to be in the major league roster this year. He did not make the opening day roster. Um, but I do think that the fan base has kind of de facto, and there have also been like statistical comparisons. Like this is the best rookie season for a Met since 2019.
Hmm.
This is the best like was drafted, was developed, has been brought up as a rookie, makes the opening day roster, hits a home run on opening day. Like, yeah, he could not hit a baseball for most of April, but like, look at him now. And when you look at the magic of him, you look at the magic of AJ's opening day. I don't know if he was a peace offering because again, I don't believe that David Stearns believes in that kind of like
That's valid.
magic,
Yeah.
sentimentality, like power of friendship stuff. But I do think that the fans who are hurt, who are like missing that like Pete connection of that Nimmo connection, because it Benj is really like the Nimmo sub when you think about it, because
Hmm.
he's the outfield. Benj and
Yeah.
Ewing are that kind of platoon. Um, but I do think that he's kind of become the fans' avatar for like the next, who are the new Mets? Well, I think a big, humongous part of that is Carson Bench. And I
Yeah.
think, well, where we were looking for the polar bear, where we had the polar bear, I don't think Carson Bench really has developed, he's still learning how to talk to the media, learning how to talk to New York press. I don't think he stuck his foot in his mouth or anything like that. But I just don't think like Pete, we knew Pete for 7 years. He's goofy Pete. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing Carson continue to grow for sure. He's definitely the one I'm most excited about, I would say.
That's where I'm at with Sam Antonacci.
I,
Antonacci
I
didn't
was
make
just
opening
listening to
day.
a
Yeah.
series preview. Yeah.
He didn't make opening day roster. He only came in because Austin Hayes was injured. Doesn't normally even play outfield, doesn't normally play left field, but is and he's not great in the left field by any stretch of the imagination, but he's like the scrappiest player. He'll get on base any means necessary. He's still very young. He's still trying to develop. He's like very awkward and shy that it's kind of adorable, but he just has this like grit that people just love. And like you would think it'd be like Miguel or Mune or Colson that kind of have that star power, but people have like flocked to Sam Antonacci in such a strange but endearing way. And I'm like, I'd like to think that like myself and Janice led that charge of the Sam Antonacci fan club because like we were just so like she went out and got the World Baseball Classic Antonacci jersey because we're like we ride at dawn for this man and like that's kind of how
He was,
what
I mean, I'm assuming based on his name that he was part of the fantastical team Italy, correct?
he was very instrumental in that team as well. I'm pretty sure he was the
Shout out Team
run that
Italy.
advanced him. Yeah,
I was rooting for Team Italy.
I was Team Italy
To
too.
this day, I have a very complicated affection for current members of the Royals, despite the Mets and the Royals sort of, not we don't get along after
Yeah,
2015. But like Vinny
and
and Jack
a
and that
gem.
whole like Team Italy. I want an espresso machine in every dugout.
Well, I mean, that whole thing, like the World Baseball Classic is coming out at like the almost the same time as the bisexual Royals jerseys. And so I was like, wait, I actually hate the Royals. Like I hate them. They're in my division. I hate them. I want to punch Bobby Witt Jr. in the face most days because he's
Yeah,
good. So I want to like so I hate him. But like
that's how I
you
feel about
can't,
PCA. So
yeah.
to be fair,
Don't get me started on PCA. And I'm like, I should hate this team. But when you put Vinny on my screen giving kisses and drinking espresso in the dugout, and then you give me bisexual Royals catch, like I bought the hat and the shirt. I was like, I hate this team. But like
but
as a
it's
bisexual
cute.
woman, I have to
It's true.
own this. Like this has to be in my closet. So I was like, don't make me love these people, but I love Vinny now. Like all of Team Italy, that was just such a good vibe.
Yeah.
They
So
took out,
Sam has been that same kind of way,
yeah,
that like fun person to follow and just like see their development.
he's just an animal, like complimentary, just crazy
Yeah.
person, and I love it. And so I see Carson kind of in that same trajectory of just like you're the fan favorite now. We love you. Thank you for your sacrifices.
Yeah, I think him coming up in a year where Mets fans are kind of looking for someone to imprint on.
hmm
And then just having him like he struggled to find his way for a month or so and then just really kind of batten down the hatches. And again, I think a part of the reason our rookies are playing really well right now is Andy Green.
hmm
So when I say like, is there hope for next year? I think there is. I've become a little bit of a truther that Andy Green might be the GM next year because he does not want to travel with the team. He's got a family. He has turned down other managerial roles with other organizations to stay in the front office at the Mets. But when they say he's going back to the front office, that's all they say. They don't say he's going back to be the president of player development. They say he's going back to the front office because that's what he wants.
hmm
And David Stearns has expressed often that he would like a GM. And I think if fans really somebody replied to my theory on this and said, Mets never make a choice that the fans want them to make, which is, I think, sometimes true. sometimes not. And I think that Andy Green is an avatar that the fans have really grown to appreciate. And if you kind of put Andy Green in between a manager and David Stearns, you put Andy Green in between David Stearns and the media, or David Stearns and the fans, you have kind of, I think, a fresher, more palatable delivery system.
Hmm.
Um, I think I view Andy Green as sort of a David Stearns translator. Um, and so I do think that Andy Green's presence has like really been big. And I hear a lot of people saying, I think it too. It's a shame we couldn't fire Carlos Mendoza when everybody else fired their managers, because that would have been cool. But
Really cool not coming into the season with him, but
yeah,
it is what it is. Yeah.
yeah, excited to see what happens. Excited for the series, I'm not dreading it. Like it's going to be fun games, I think.
Yeah. Well, so on that note, and I like to combine these questions of like, what do the Mets need to do to win? But also, like, what are you afraid of them doing coming into this? What are you most afraid of?
Okay, so it's Sean, Christian, and Nolan.
Yeah.
Nolan has had problems since he was in the minors with walks. And then I think guys are a little less scared of Nolan than they were last year when he was a little bit less of a known quantity. Um, and Nolan has had some rough starts over the year because it's his rookie year. So I'm a little afraid of our three pitchers are good, but they have weaknesses. They do. Um, if Christian Scott hits a batter, he's mentally lost for the next inning. Maybe longer, maybe the rest of the game, depending on how hard and where he hits the batter. It can really derail him. So that's something I'm worried about. So I'll lead with the negative, which is that I am worried about our pitching getting beaten up, which is why I think we really need to go after a real ace
Yeah.
in the offseason. We thought that was going to be Freddie. It wasn't. We need we need a stopper. We don't have. Um, all these guys could be that. We don't have one this year. So I'm worried about that. What do the Mets need to do? I think something that we've been struggling with all year, less so again in the last 15 games, but offense. Like we struggle with offense sometimes, not so much with giving up games anymore. I think Mets have to stay in it and stay gritty.
Hmm.
Um, be patient. I think they've been taking really good at bats. Like I have not even mentioned Bo Bichette's name once
Oh my
today.
gosh. Yeah, no, neither
Not
one of us have,
one
which is wild
time.
as like a Bo
Um,
apologist.
because I like Bo Bichette.
Hmm.
I Part of me hopes he opts in. I think he will because it's a lot of money and it's a really unstable year next year.
Yeah.
I think maybe he does one more year and then opts out for the third and takes whatever new contract under the new CBA somebody offers him because he's still only what, 28? So
Yeah.
he'll only be 30. He'll be looking for like the Kyle Schwarber contract, you know? Um, so Bo Bichette has been hot lately. Can't hit a home run lately, but lots of extra base hits again. Really staying in those, 11, 12 pitch at bats. Uh, but then Francisco Alvarez has been walking more lately, which is good. But Francisco Alvarez is sort of like sometimes you see him in the lineup and he's an automatic double play, automatic chasing outside the zone into a double play. Um, I think gotta stay disciplined at the plate. Um, and I think another huge issue with the Mets earlier in the year was pressing. And then that's part of why they've been playing so free. They're not like trying to be the guy who hits the home run. I think Mets have really just got to focus on keeping the line moving and playing good defense. Like we've had so many errors this year. Part of that, I mentioned Francisco Lindor's hot and cold season of like in and out. Um, moving a bunch of players to positions they had never played before. Like we've had a lot of LOL moments on the infield this year. And so I think that kind of new identity that they're building, like playing Jared Young every day, like Francisco Lindor coming into his own, Bo Bichette playing a really good 3B. Um, yeah, I think they got to keep focused and stay gritty in the at bats, and I think that'll give them a real chance in these games.
That's why I have started to combine that question because I feel like people always just answer the question
Both.
of at the same time because usually your fears are exactly what they also just need to do.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like they have not done these things in the past. And so I am afraid that that history will repeat itself. I am afraid that those issues that we have been really overcoming a lot this year. Bo is a much better 3B now than he was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he was
much better.
abysmal at the beginning of the season, which
He was
sucks because again,
bad.
I am a Bo apologist. I have always been a Bo apologist. I have always loved him his entire career. So
He's
I'm just like,
wonderful.
oh, I want you to be good. I need you to be good for my sake. I need you to be good.
Early in the year, like in the preseason when we signed Bo, I came upon this video of Bo Bichette talking about Marcus Semien and their like friendship from the Jays and how much they meant to each other. And so that and also Bo loves tennis and it's about to be US Open season. So I think the power of friendship, the power of Marcus Semien's friendship, I think might also help keep Bo here next year. Um, because having guys who have a relationship in the clubhouse, like wanting to be part of something, however many games next year is, um, yeah, I just think continuing to play like it matters is good.
And I want to touch back on that. The clubhouse atmosphere genuinely matters. I think about 2020 through 2024 White Sox, they just didn't really vibe. They didn't get along. They were just all kind of, because again, it's like these guys that you think are going to be superstars. You've got Luis Robert, you've got Yohan Moncada, you've got these guys that are good in their own right, but they're not teammates.
It's not cohesive.
They're on the same team.
Yeah.
Whereas this White Sox team, Sam Antonacci and Miguel Vargas are going out dressed as Spider-Man
Spider-Man,
to see
the
Spider-Man.
Spider-Verse.
They love
Look,
each
both
other.
of our teams, this is the power of Spider-Man series
Yes.
because the Mets have had the Spider-Man thing going on all year. So this
Yes.
is the Spider-Man series.
So it's just that matters so much. Like the club, what's going on in the clubhouse matters so much. I took so much joy because when you play at Wrigley, there's the tradition that the rookies go out to the Wrigleyville Starbucks and they bring in the coffee. All the rookies have to do it, and there's so many rookies on this White Sox team right now. So they just posted the video of like poor Sam Antonacci is in charge of 26 orders, but they're like just playing around in the Starbucks. Randall Grichuk FaceTimes them and they're all like, "Oh yeah, that's our dad." Like they're just silly, goofy boys at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They're just having so much fun. Again, so many of them are rookies. They're just having a blast together and it translates. It translates to what you put on the field. When you're having fun, when you're getting along, when you're gelling in that clubhouse, it shows on the field. And I think that's just
We say
crucial
it all the
for
time, but it's a
teams.
kid's game.
It
Kids
is.
learn to play this game, And like it should be fun. It should be fun again. Like you're playing, it's a competition, but you know, when we tell kids every game is an opportunity to learn, people who can come in with that attitude, the players who can come in with that attitude, like those teams always do better.
Yeah, and that's what these young guys on both of these teams are doing. They're learning every day, but they're having fun. And that's what I taught my children when they were playing baseball and softball. So it's like we're here to have fun and we're here to learn. We're not here to
Keep trying. Just keep
yeah.
trying.
So all right,
And
well,
then yeah,
yeah, I don't know. That's
you
my
have a game to cover. You have a game you have to cover in a few minutes.
I know. But it's okay. Well, moving away though from our respective teams before we end this
Yeah.
is just where I love to get your hot takes or like what you're feeling for this season. What's great, what's ugly, what's stupid.
Ooh, um, my immediate thought was the home run derby, Jordan Walker.
Oh,
Like that
beautiful moment.
was honestly, I was very grumpy after the All-Star game last year. Because remember how Pete was almost the MVP and then he
Yeah,
didn't even get to swing in the swing off at the end and
really
it
bitter.
went to Kyle
Yep.
Schwarber. Very grumpy about that. So sorry. But seeing Jordan Walker take it in that very last, that was just like And so, following those guys who are having these crazy seasons, like I don't follow a lot of the AL because like just like you probably like now that you're a Met, you are a Mets fan
Do
now that you
watch the
are, but
Mets, but
like
I don't follow a ton of NL.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like you're kind of as baseball fans, as team fans, you're kind of always kind of following your own division. So Jordan Walker has been incredible. Seeing like I have been following, the former Mets elsewhere. What's been good, what hasn't. It was a really weird season this year. I think
Mhm.
it still is a really weird season. What, like more than half the AL is under 500 right now, including
It's the
half
bad
of the
place.
playoffs. Like and it's just sort of the Mets playing like they are, the Mariners playing like they are. The Mariners just lost 22-0. Like the season is weird. The season is weird.
It's
Um,
Cal Raleig's fault. It's Cal's fault, actually. It was that whole like really shitty handshake debacle.
not shaking Randy Rosarina's
Yeah,
hand.
it was all
No,
that.
the
He cursed
WBC
it.
is kind of a curse because
It
I thought
is.
Nolan McLean and Clay Holmes escaped it, and then Clay Holmes broke his foot, and
Frail
Nolan McLean
heel,
has
injured.
struggled a
Didn't
lot.
start the
Just
season.
like it's Francisco wanted to play, didn't get to. Juan
I still
Soto did play.
I still have
Um,
trauma from Edwin Diaz.
Edwin Diaz. Like
I
everybody
still
who
hold that
follows the Mets
trauma.
remembers, like we view the WBC through that.
Yes.
Speaking of Edwin, now speaking of Edwin, um, the Dodgers have been. I want people to pay more attention to the people who suck on the Dodgers. I want more people to pay more attention to Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz. Absolutely crapping the bed for the size of their contracts and how that has very not affected them almost at all. Um, I feel like it's been a really bad year for injuries. I feel like we've lost a lot of people to injuries this year, which has been tough. Um, Not just on the Mets, just like all over. We're seeing guys go down a lot of Tommy Johns, a lot of there was everybody lost their handmate in the first 3 months of this season. There were like 10 players who had
So
handmates
weird too.
stuffed. So that's just interesting, kind of the journey of injuries and how that affects each of these teams and each of these call-ups. And, a guy goes a place, does it work? Does it not? Is the contract good? Is it good? Is it not? The trade deadline was weird because nobody knows if there's going to be baseball next year. The owners certainly think that they can hold out. Owners are certainly moving like there's not going to be baseball next year, which I think has also contributed to how weird this baseball season has felt.
Yeah.
And my hot take is like there's not going to be a cap. There's just not going to be a cap. There will also be no floor because
Yeah.
there can be no cap without a floor. And I think players will sacrifice a floor before they'll sacrifice a cap, which
Yeah.
they should. Um, but my hot take is that MLB is being so grimy with how they're going about the propaganda stuff for this. And outside of baseball in my day-to-day life, I'm an advocate. I work in politics and I'm a union steward and an organizer and I've been on bargaining committees and I just can't. I like the owners are moving in such bad faith.
Hmm.
And they've also won a lot of public support using their levers of propaganda and by making you feel like your argument is with the millionaire and not the billionaires. Um, so my hot take is like I want the players to get what they are owed because they are the product. I don't go to baseball to watch the owners. I don't go to baseball to think about Steve Cohen and I don't do that. I don't go to baseball for the owners. I go to baseball for the players. And so my hot take is no cap.
I mean, hey. Yeah, I get it. I get it. And again, you can't you have to have them in tandem. You can't say no floor without a cap. I mean, you have to have both. So I agree.
You
Like
do.
I would rather the players just hold steady because again, you've got stories like that home run derby. He didn't even make he didn't even come into the season making $1 million and he won
Yes.
$1 million for winning
He
that derby.
exactly like that money did not matter to Kyle Schwarber
No.
the way that it does to Jordan Walker. That was the
Yeah.
other like I love baseball for the stories. That is
Exactly.
a thing. I follow stats, sure. Like when you get into baseball, you follow. I don't get as nitty gritty as like bat speed or release angle. I'm like not as,
Yeah.
but like I know, batting average. I know on base percentage. I know like the understanding the story of the player is how
Hmm.
I view it. And Jordan Walker is one of those guys who's like the story. Those parents walking around, those parents doing the interviews. Again, the life-changing money that is involved in
And
so many of these
I'm
guys.
sorry, I sobbed with the whole this is why we need more black kids in baseball. Because yes,
Yes,
that is it.
like
That is
yes.
what
And the
it's
fact that
about at the end of the day.
he said, if anybody sees me and like wants to be in baseball because like what as a parent, I think that's also the thing, right? As a
Yeah.
parent, it's like what a dream. Like what a dream. Like what a
Have such a wonderful, humble
to
child who's
Spider-Man.
correct.
With great power comes great
Yeah.
responsibility, right? And these guys who are stepping into that like power of their place, um, just really like moved by some of the stories this year.
Mhm.
And I love that because I get emotional. How can you not be romantic about baseball? How can you
How
not?
many movies have we quoted? I need to, when I go back
We're
and listen.
millennials. It's just
I know
we'll just like put a ding up every
we talk in movie quotes. It's just how it is. It's what you get with two like weird neurospicy millennial women on a baseball
moms.
podcast. It's just what you get.
And that's another
Sorry.
it's like it's not only my thing, but it is a thing I get to share with my son
Yeah.
is baseball. And so getting to show him all these stories and like I can't wait. The Little League World Series is like the play-in tournaments have been happening. And the Little League Classic, I think, is also a place where guys go back. Mets went back last year and it kind of felt like maybe they were gonna make it after that because they were just having fun again playing a kid's game.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm looking forward to that. Be fun.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've got for you. I know we both have to move away, or else we could talk for 5 more hours
We
about
could, but it's been
just
great.
everything. But thank you again so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on and chatting about all of my favorite things. Please just remind people where they can find you.
You can find me at April Glick, APRILGLICK, pretty much everywhere. Mostly active on Blue Sky and TikTok, but I am on the other sites. Um, but yeah, Blue Sky, I live post through most games. TikTok, I make wrap-up videos and reaction videos, and
You came through
um,
organically for me on TikTok, by the way. I just want you to know
really.
that. You did. You came through organically for me.
You built that algorithm brick by brick. That's just how it goes. And I'm finding a lot of joy there. TikTok has questionable morals since the purchase and everything like that. But I do find that I have one of the best tips I ever got on TikTok was just talk like yourself. Just
Yeah.
talk about the things that you care about, and the people who are meant to find you will find you. Case in point.
Mhm.
And found a lot of success. One of my shout outs is to Baseball for Baddies. If you follow Baseball for Baddies, Kate
Love baseball.
Maniscalco, just really kind of the blueprint of there are so many women in baseball, but how do we talk about baseball in a way that feels authentic to us, things that we care about, things that we want to follow, reactions that we have. And you can find me there and watch me crashing out or being delusional and celebrating. Posting a lot of memes on Blue Sky. I'm everywhere. April Glick.
We love it. Follow all of the women in baseball. All right. Well, thank
Thanks,
you.
Crystal.
Best of luck.
Thank you.